afternoon. You've tuned into the second edition of Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. I'm Karunya, and over the next half hour, we'll tell you all the important and interesting trends that we're spotting in the market right now and some individual stocks to keep on your radar. Joining me on the show today is Alok Jain from weekendinvesting.com. I also have my colleagues Vivek as well as Varun on the show. First up, it's some earnings candidates that need to be highlighted. Gujarat Gas is in focus. If you look at the numbers, the revenue is up 28%. They've logged in a revenue of 2,569 crores versus 2,013 crores. As far as the bottom line is concerned, that has grown a whopping 12x from 41 crore last year in the same quarter to 517 crore in the quarter gone by. So a very whopping jump coming in as far as the bottom line is concerned. The stock, however, is looking quite weak in trade. The street clearly has not digested it well. Their results for the quarter gone by, Gujarat Gas is down 3.4%. Moving on to an earnings candidate, Cipla is in focus ahead of the earnings. It's up 2.6%. Alok, how are the technicals looking?
Yeah, good afternoon. So Cipla is at a very crucial point of 480 rupees, and as the earnings are awaited, it could either make or break this breakout. So a strong breakout above 480, if it happens, that will be completing a inverse head and shoulders pattern on this stock, and the targets will be very high above this. I mean, it could go as high as 550 in the medium term. The volumes have been pretty good today, but today being the earnings day, it is tough to say whether it will settle above 480 or not. So look for the price settling above 480 with stops at 460, and if that happens, then it will be a good ride up.
Right, that's Cipla for you. It's looking quite resilient ahead of its numbers as of now. Let's keep it with the earnings. Some more names to watch out for. Redington, Varun, how was the performance for Q2?
So Redington had a pretty decent set of numbers. Now the reported revenues were 12,354 crores versus 11,132 crores. So that's an 11% increase YOY. Your PAT, however, improved significantly, 24% to 130 crores versus 105 crores. So basically your margins have expanded. Now they've expanded to 2.1% versus 1.9%. And the EBITDA margin has also expanded considerably, and the EBITDA absolutely was up also at 262 versus 211. So really positive result for Redington. However, the stock is just about holding up today.
Right, Redington is looking quite tempered right now. It's down by about 0.3%, trading at 115.3. Vivek, let's talk about Titan's earnings. What have been the highlights for the quarter gone by? And more importantly, what was the management commentary like?
Well, if you're talking about Titan earnings, very tepid growth seen over there. The company's jewelry segment, actually saw some of the lowest growth in the last almost 2.5 years. Also, given the fact that gold prices were on a high, they actually said that the customer demand that was coming in for most of its gold jewelry has tapered off quite significantly. On the back of that, on the back of very slow activity, the management actually went ahead and told investors on the conference call that they're cutting the gold revenue guidance that they had set at almost 20% earlier to now between 11 to 12%. So that significant guidance cut has ensured that most of the brokerages on the street have gone ahead and cut their EPS targets. And today, if you're looking at the stock, down 9%, even though the market is scaling fresh highs on an intraday basis.
All right, Titan definitely bleeding in trade. It's lost 9.5% as we speak. It's definitely earnings galore. Let's talk about some more candidates. Ajanta Pharma is looking quite good in trade after the Q2 numbers were reported. The revenue has come in at 643 crore. It's up 18% year on year. Profits have come in at 116 crore versus 125 crore. It's down 7%. But despite the slight weakness on the bottom line, the stock is managing to hold out on its own. It's up 1% in trade right after the numbers came out last evening. Okay, let's talk about some more names to watch out for. Alok, Yes Bank, how does it look to you in terms of technicals?
So Yes Bank, as you already know, is a very news-driven counter. But the last few sessions, it has shown good strength and it has rallied back on every dip. So I would think that keeping 57 as a stop, one should look for buying the dips in this counter. And if this major resistance level around 75, 76 gets broken on some major news, if it comes around, then this can go immediately to as high as 98 rupees also. So I would keep a stop at 57 and look for buying on dips.
Thumbs up, at least a buy on dips is what Alok is reiterating at this juncture on Yes Bank. The stock is up nearly 3%. Why don't let's talk about Godrej Properties. The stock is looking very, very robust today in trade. How are the numbers and how exactly are brokerages digesting it?
So the main note today is from CLSA that we're going to flag off, and now that is that strong sales growth seems to be driving market shares for Godrej Properties. So they've raised their target from 1100 previously to 1200, and the launch surge drives 81% pre-sales. So, it's looking quite positive for them. The most recent FM announcement said that the next big bailout is going to be around the realty sector. So being a leader in the sector, I feel that they will continue to benefit. So we'll be eyeing this one, and it's trading very close to its 52-week high. So we'll also be watching for when it breaches that next.
Right, absolutely nearing 52-week highs at 990.1 at this point in time. Let's talk about Tech Mahindra, Vivek. The numbers have been quite strong for the quarter gone by. How are brokerages reading into it?
Well, it was a very good set of numbers as far as Tech Mahindra was concerned. The management, in fact, has gone ahead and given a very good set. The numbers were marginally above what the street was anticipating. The enterprise segment is something that has grown quite well. In fact, most of the brokerages have gone ahead and increased their target price. One of the biggest target price or EPS upgrades has come in from Morgan Stanley. And on the back of that, the stock that has actually moved up quite significantly in the last month and a half, while it's seeing a little bit of a profit booking. The management in the conference call stated that at this point of time, given the fact that some large deals have been coming, might be slightly tough for them to maintain the margin trajectory that they had been enjoying so far.
All right, that's Tech Mahindra for you. Looking a little muted, up just about 0.3%. Despite a solid set of numbers, the stock right now is off the day's highest point. Let's keep it with earnings once again. Divi's Labs is also in focus on back of their Q2 report card. The stock is up 1.3%. Let me talk about the numbers as well. Revenue has grown 9.2%. It's come in at 1445.6 crores versus 1324 crore rupees. So it's up 9% YOY. As far as the bottom line is concerned, that has come in a tad bit lower at 356 crore rupees versus 404 crores, down 11.5%. But despite whatever happened on the profitability front, the stock is still managing to be in the green. It's up 1.4%, 1.3% as we speak. Let's talk about the next stock then as well, Bharti Infratel. This one has been in focus for quite some time now. Alok, today the stock is looking a tad bit muted after that up move we saw in the last couple of days. What exactly is the chart pattern looking like, and how do we see the stock go from here on?
So Infratel is in a V-shaped recovery mode after the heavy fall it saw in the last week of October when it fell from about 260 to 180. In the up move now it is a bit overbought, and new longs should only be considered once it has corrected and made some base formation. If it starts to fall again, then below 212 I would like to go short with stops at 225. So for longs we should wait for some correction, and for shorts, if it goes below 212 you can go short in this.
That's Infratel for you, trading at 222 levels. We have 10 stocks more to go, so let's slip into a short break. We'll come back with more stocks to watch out for in trade on Market Fatafat. Welcome back. You're still watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's get on board with some more stocks that are buzzing in trade. Varun, let's talk about SRF. It's up 4.7%. What is pulling the stock higher?
So firstly, the Q2 results were really encouraging on a consolidated level. There was really good growth in profitability and margin, especially in the chemicals segment, so much that it made up for the slowing in the other segments like the packaging film, etc. So Citi's come out with a note on SRF with a maintaining its buy. Target price has been raised to 3,561 rupees a share. The chemical business outlook, according to Citi, remains on track as far as growth is concerned, and the buy due to SRF's unique USP in fluorine chemistry. The stock is up today, 4.5%. I believe it was up close to 3% yesterday, so 7% return in a large stock like this over 2 days is commendable.
Okay, that's Citi giving it a thumbs up on back of the performance they delivered for the quarter gone by. SRF is up 0.7%. Let's talk about another earnings candidate, but this one is not really looking too strong in trade. It's Dabur India. It's down 0.7%. I'm sorry. Vivek, what are the brokerages saying about their quarterly performance? Vivek, Dabur India, what are brokerages saying about this one? Okay, I think we have snapped that line with Vivek. Let me quickly underline what exactly is credit. So he's saying they maintain the outperform stance on the company. The target they've given for Dabur is 535 rupees a share. They see that the international business improvement is something that will help margin expansion in the second half. So they are betting on some triggers and some propellers to sort of boost the revenue and especially the margin performance in the international business for this company in the second half of this fiscal. Let's talk about some more earnings. Chola Mandalam is also something that we're tracking in trade today. The stock is down a good 4%. NII is up 22%. It's coming at 1,035 crores versus 847 crore. PAT is up 2.5% as well at 307 crore versus 299 crore. But clearly the street doesn't seem very enthused by the performance that they've delivered for the quarter gone by. In fact, the management of the company also joined us earlier on in the day. Arul Selvan D of Chola Mandalam expects to see improvement in the margins going forward. Let's listen into his commentary as well.
Vehicle finance business grew by 3% in disbursement, while asset growth is still seemingly at 23%. That is because of the accumulated growth over the last few quarters. We are confident that it will turn around. We are seeing some traction already happening in October during the Deepavali season, and we are glad that we will see some more improvements on the NIM side as we go along in the coming quarter. MCLR reductions are happening, and most of the long-term borrowings have a 1-year reset cycle. So we will see the resets happening mostly in Q3 and Q4, more predominantly in Q4, because if you again see the trend, our bank borrowings were very high during Q3 and Q4 last year. We are also experimenting, and we have done quite a bit on the overseas funding. While at this stage overseas funding is as good as, if not slightly higher if you take the withholding tax also into account, costlier than the local borrowing. We still see that as an opportunity and a necessity, because to diversify the investor base. We will be pursuing this over the coming quarters. You will not see a lot of swings in either on the NPAs or on the provision coverages, which sort of demonstrates that our asset quality as well as our provisioning basis has been fairly consistent over this quarter.
Okay, let's talk about some more earnings candidates. It's BEL, which is in focus. They delivered the numbers a couple of days back. But let's talk technicals with Alok on this one. Alok, the stock in the last few sessions has really come off, and right now it's trading at 109 levels. How do you see it fare going forward?
So BEL, as you rightly said, dropped very sharply in the last two sessions post the results from 120 to 108 levels. It has also just broken the support trend line today, which it has been holding for many weeks, and the volumes are pretty high too. So one should wait for some consolidation here before looking for any long positions. If it closes above 113, then one could look for some an uptrend to restart above the trend line. But right now it is looking pretty weak and dull. It is a short on every bounce and avoid for longs.
Okay, so an avoid on BEL at this juncture. The stock is down 3% in trade. Let's talk about more earning names then. Varun Grief's Cotton is tanking in trade. How weak were the numbers?
So it was a miss on the margin front, although revenues held up okay. Now the revenues were up 3.4%, coming in at 512 crores versus 495 crores. But your PAT was down to 43 crores versus nearly 50 crores. and your EBITDA was down to 60 crores versus 73 crores, so that's 18.1% EBITDA reduction, and the margins compress over 300 bips to 11.7% versus 14.8%. Hence, you see the stock under pressure today.
That's Greaves Cotton down 4% in trade. Let's talk about Sagar Cements, then another stock from the mid-cap index that we're tracking. It's up 1.2%. Vivek, what exactly is the update?
Well, Karnia, what's actually happened is that this particular name came out with its set of monthly dispatch figures, and while the monthly dispatch figures are a little scary to look at, down almost 25% on a year-on-year basis, you have to keep in mind that number one, this particular monsoon season has seen erratic rainfall. Last monsoon, especially in October 2019, there wasn't too much of rainfall. So construction activity wasn't so muted as it was in the October gone by in 2019, on the back of which you're seeing a 25% downtick. However, the fact that a lot of cement companies down south have undertaken price hikes is something that is keeping most of these stocks quite buoyant in trade, and Sagar Cement too is up almost over 1% in today's trading session.
Okay, moving on to Birla Corporation, another stock from the broader universe which is looking quite buoyant in trade. It's up 1.5%. The numbers, as far as the revenue is concerned, they came in at 1647 crore rupees. Profits saw a very solid growth from 16 crore in the same quarter last year. The PAT has grown to 88 crores. Margins have come in extremely healthy at 20.2% versus 13.9%, and perhaps on back of that, the market is also giving it a thumbs up. Alok, let's talk about another stock from the broader markets. It's Praj Industries. What is your call on this one?
It has been range bound between approximately 100 and 120 rupees since the last 5 months, and it has been moving up and down along with the movements in the sugar companies because it manufactures for them. So there is no really distinctly any trend here. I mean, it's waiting for some formation to happen and some range to break out. So one wait for a formation to happen and take a fresh view then. So right now it is an avoid for me.
On Praj Industries, the stock, however, is looking extremely strong in trade. It's up 5%. Let's talk about another stock that's soaring in trade. It's Avanti Feeds. Varun, can you tell us the highlights of their second quarter numbers?
So the numbers, I don't have them right here, but they were really encouraging, and I know that there was an improvement on the revenue and margin front. Now, basically, this is because there's been an increased demand, which is really positive for the company, and then the earnings growth has been projected for 20 to 24% over the next 3 years. The stock has also given you a 30% return in the last 1 month, and it continues that trend in trade today.
All right, it's the earnings growth which is likely at 20-24% for the next 3 years. I stand corrected. There were too many earnings, so yeah, I thought this one is an earnings candidate as well. Meanwhile, let's talk about another name, that's JSPL. Vivek, what's keeping the stock in focus?
Well, especially for a name like JSPL, although the numbers came out yesterday, and while numbers are important at this point of time, what's keeping this particular stock quite buoyant is the fact that metal prices are on an upswing. Also the fact that the company managed to bag the very important Gare Palma coal block, which ensures that much lower input costs as far as its metal processing is concerned, and also the fact that the EBITDA for the quarter gone by has been quite robust. On the back of all of that, JSPL is in focus today and is gaining. Remember, there are more triggers, especially given the fact that the Sarda mine case is still up for grabs, and that is something that you need to keep an eye out for as far as JSPL is concerned.
You have it, that's JSPL for you. The stock is up 1% in trade. With that, Alok, Varun and Vivek, thank you so much for joining in and helping our viewers out with all the stocks to keep on their radar in today's session. But before we wrap up, let's address another stock with the spot and biosimilar segment. New launches on the horizon. Biocon's Kiran Mazumdar Shaw is confident that the company will register growth in the upcoming quarters. Listen in.